Hey, Sam here, and today I'm building the Monsgeek M6. I will be covering this step by step so you can follow along if you want. So included with the kit is a piece of paper for the tape mod, the M6 user manual and quick start guide, a box full of accessories that includes the Teflon pads and some extra foam, 6 2U screw-in stabilizers because it's an LE style layout, so you're gonna need all of these, extra silicone gaskets for the gasket mount of the plate, a bag of extra screws and the Allen key for the keyboard, a Type A to Type C cable that has a coil. Also included is a hard plastic cover for the keyboard, and this is the M6 bare bones kit. This is the black version and the case is fully CNC aluminum and it is quite heavy, around 2 kilograms or 4.5 pounds. Here is the 65% LE style layout, and I think it looks great in this boxy case design. The PCB here is 5-pin hot swap with a south-facing layout. It supports screw-in stabilizers and the plate will support plate-mounted ones. The side profile keeps the same design in the M lineup with the accent pieces here as well. The Type-C port is at the usual spot on the left over here. On the bottom there's 4 rubber feet and the Monsgeek logo engraved into the case in the middle here with a small plug as well. The case is held together with 6 screws on the bottom, and you can use the given Allen key to remove them, but a screwdriver with the correct head will work as usual. The 3 longer ones are for the top and the 3 shorter ones are for the bottom portion. When you are opening up the case, do be careful when lifting up the case and the PCB, as there's a cable connecting to the PCB that needs to be removed. The plate and PCB is held together with 6 more screws at the back of the PCB. The screws look like this, they are all the same size so you can't mess this up. With those out, now the M6 is fully disassembled and here are all of the components. Here is the top part of the case. It has a cutout and divider for the keys and the mounting points for the gasket. The bottom part of the case also has the gasket mounting points and it houses the small daughter board here and the 2 metal pieces on the sides which are removable. For the case, there's 3 mods included, so you get 1 VHV insulation film which sticks to the case like this. 1 really thin piece of foam for the case and it goes in also like this. And 1 custom cut Poron foam for the case too. This is the 5-pin hot swap PCB with the LE style layout. The back of the PCB looks like this and all of the hot swap sockets here are KL hot swap sockets. There's also a connector here on the top to connect to the daughter board and the model number of the PCB at the bottom, and from what I can see this is the QMK universal version. The plate included with this kit is a polycarbonate plate, so it is really flexible. At the sides of the plates are the mounting points where the silicone gaskets will sit, and they are quite firm but squishy as well, so this will provide a more softer typing experience. For the PCB and the plate, there's 2 mods included. 1 switch pad sheet which sits on the PCB like this, and 1 custom Poron platform that sits in between the plate and PCB. There's also 1 extra tape mod included and it will stick to the back of the PCB if you plan on using it. Alright, now starting off the build, I will be lubing the stabilizers first, and these are the screw-in ones given. For this, I'm using Krytox 205 grade 0 for the housing and Permatex for the wires. I will be applying the lube with 2 separate brushes, but honestly any kind of small brush will work. The housing just needs a really light coat of lube, too much will make the steps feel sluggish. As for the wires, you can brush it on like this, like how I'm doing, but you can also dip the whole wire into the lube and it will be coated evenly. Once you have the wire and housing lube, just assemble them together and the final steps will look like this. Since this is an alley style layout, you're only going to be using 2 U stabilizers, and in total you need 5 here. To install the steps to the PCB, you'll be needing these smaller screws included with the kit. But before you screw it in, remember to install the switch pad first. Next, you want to layer the pour-on foam followed by the plate on the PCB. And if everything fits, it's time to screw the plate and PCB together with the 6 screws you removed previously. This is what the plate and PCB sandwich should look like with all of the mods installed. Moving on, I will be installing the tape mod. It's really simple, you just need to stick it to the back of the PCB. But one tip I can give is to use the VHB film as a template to mark out the place for the connection port. This will save you the time and trouble of figuring out where to cut. Alright, now time for the switches. For this build, I'll be using these new V3 Cream Black Pro switches from Akko. There's 45 pieces in a box. It's a linear type switch and they come pre-looped in the box, so they are quite smooth and you don't have to loop them yourself. With the switches installed, we can now put that whole assembly aside and proceed to get the case ready. The VHB insulation film will go in first, creating a barrier between the case and the PCB. Then the 2 foam pieces can be layered on top like this. After that, the cable can be reconnected and the plate and PCB can go into the case. When you are doing this, just make sure that the gaskets are sitting on the mounts correctly. Before the case can be closed up and assembled together, I will be installing the Teflon pads for the force brake mod. I'll be using 6 pieces, so 1 for each screw hole, but you can use less or none depending on your preference. A tweezer always helps when installing the small pieces. For this build, I did use all of the mods so you guys can see where they all go, but the flex isn't a lot if you're using all of the mods, so do keep that in mind. If you want your typing experience to be more flexible, I would recommend that you remove some of the foam. So the build is almost done, and for the keycaps, I'm using Akko Starry Sky keycaps. These are double shot PBT keycaps in the OSA profile. There's 187 pieces here included, so it will fit most layouts out there. But it doesn't have an extra B key for the Alice layout, so keep that in mind if you're planning on getting this. The double shot is sharp, color seems nice, and it's pretty thick too. My favorite is this R/MK keycap. It's just a small Easter egg included. And here is the final build. With the RGB on, I would say it looks decent. It's a little bit muted because of the switches, but there's 17 modes pre-programmed onto the PCB. So here are a few examples of the RGB modes included. The M6 is also QMK VIA compatible, so you can do the usual stuff here. After downloading the JSON file for the keyboard, you can check the different layers here. Configure all of the keys in the media, macro, layers, special, and lighting tab. Record your own or import macros here in the QMK VIA software, and adjust the lighting in here if you want to. There's quite a lot you can do with this software, and mainly I just use it to program some of the keys. So that's the Monsgeek M6. Now let's move on to the typing sound test. Here are my final thoughts on the Monsgeek M6. I actually really like the design where the case is still boxy but with an Alice layout. It gives off a retro but modern look at the same time and I really like it. The price for this kit is great too, it's just over $100 and you are getting a full CNC aluminum case and a PCB with QMK VIA support. So if you are interested in getting the M6, it will be linked in the description below alongside all of the stuff I used in this build video for you. And that wraps it up for this video. Thanks to Monsgeek and Akko for the stuff in this build and thank you for watching. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, dislike this video if you didn't, and remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.